but just within this one shot and this one line that this character says, you are able to understand so much about the motivation of all the characters. Hey everybody, my name is Nick. I'm a director living in Taiwan, and today I want to talk about the short animated film Night Bus, directed by Zhou Xie. This is an interesting short little film. It's about 20 minutes long. I saw it on a streaming service that I subscribed to, so I decided to watch it. I didn't really get it that much, and then I saw that a lot of his older shorts were playing on the platform too, so I watched those. And after watching 3 of his films, I really think I started to kind of understand what he's about as a director, and it actually really made me appreciate Night Bus a lot more. In general, his style of animation and drawing is very simple. There's not a lot of movement, and you can tell that it's not very high budget. You can kind of see the seams and see, like that it's made in After Effects. And sometimes this is a style that I think works, and other times it kind of falls into this like bad flash animation feeling of like early days of the internet. And I'll elaborate when I talk about the individual films about when I think it works and when I think it doesn't work. You can tell that he likes gore and shock value as a director, and I generally do like this kind of art, but I feel like it's a pretty risky move sometimes, because when it works it's very interesting and it can add a lot of power to your message or what you're trying to say. But when it doesn't work, I think it makes the art seem a lot more childish, and it feels like you don't really have something to say, so you kind of just default into trying to shock people, which is a good segue into his first animated work that I saw, Meat Days. So this is from 2006, and this is an animation about a woman who sells her body to buy human flesh to feed her family. It's like set in a weird reality, I guess, where the only meat that you can eat is like human meat, and so she prostitutes herself in order to get food for her sick husband and her baby, and then people kind of betray her to get this meat. If that sounds like pretty shocking, it is. I think to be honest, I really hated it. I thought it was really kind of bad and just shocking just for the sake of being shocking. It kind of reminded me of an animation from like 2005 called Salad Fingers, and it's just like, if you know the website eBaum's World, it feels like it was something that was beyond there. It's like gross out animation from the early 2000s. It's just kind of it's not very good. The animation is kind of bad. The sound design I felt is pretty flat. There's no the conflicts or the climax of the short just doesn't really feel like it's motivated in any way, except for like, oh, they're hungry and people want to eat each other. Just kind of like a very obvious horror trope. They're eating each other kind of a vibe. I really don't care for that kind of stuff. It just feels very obvious and very cruel, and yeah, so I didn't like that. Then I watched 2013 The Present, and this is about a religious man who gets stuck in a small town in Taiwan. He has to stay there overnight in an old hotel, and the hotel owner's mentally unstable daughter ends up becoming obsessed with him and falling in love with him. And all of the elements that I think hurt Meat Days help this short film work, and I actually really, really loved this short. It's very impressive actually, where he can have 2 pieces side by side, and one of them I think, this is terrible, I hate this, and then the other one I think, wow, this is fantastic, I love this. So like the simple animation, for example, it really matches the creepy vibe of the story in this one. And then like the over the top kind of gross out gore stuff that is put in here is actually put to service of these well thought out characters who are kind of complex, and then this very interesting story. So the gore really elevates the message of this one. It explores like how if you're kind to someone who wants to harm you, you can actually put yourself in a lot of danger. And so you really need to be careful who you show your kindness to. And yeah, it's just a very well done kind of horror film, kind of like whereas Meat Days is kind of the worst of what I think gross out horror can be, this is the best of what it can be. You can really see there's like an Edward Gorey influence. It's very clear that he likes Edward Gorey, I think, I'm assuming. So then that brings me to 2019's Night Bus, which is his short film that is winning tons of awards all over the place. Night Bus is about a group of people taking a night bus in southern Taiwan. So there's all these different people that don't know each other that are getting on this bus. A rich old woman's pearls are stolen, and then it kind of sets off this chain of events of destruction that is augmented by the secrets that each of the characters on the bus has. As I mentioned, it's a festival darling, winning tons of awards. Everybody loves it. It's interesting, and I think it's very cool that it's winning a lot of awards, because it's kind of not something you would expect to win a lot of awards. It's just not something traditionally I would think like, oh, these prestigious festivals are gonna like love this kind of like gross out animation thing. And I think it's kind of cool. I would love to interview the judges who are giving it these awards and be like, okay, so what are you seeing it? Because I know what I like about it, but I would be curious to know like what these people who are giving out awards, what they like so much about it. I think it does suffer a little from the simple animation, whereas The Present, I think it works really well because it's this kind of simpler plot that has like a storybook kind of format. The simple animation matches that, but this one, I think it's more of a complex kind of film noir kind of story that has all these different like twisting characters, and I think it would have served a little bit more and been more immersive if it had kind of more complex animation style but there is a lot to like in the short film. I think my favorite thing about it is the way that he packs the story in to this very short piece. It's very impressive. In fact, there's kind of one shot and one line that happens right about the middle of the film. It is very fast, but just within this one shot and this one line that this character says, you are able to understand so much about the motivation of all the characters, about kind of what's going on, and it changes your understanding of the story and completely flips what you think is going on. Like it makes you do a 180, and it makes you feel empathy for people that you kind of didn't know that much about, and it also makes you really understand who the villain is very quickly. So it's very, very good filmmaking. If you're able to, in one shot, one line, with like one quick flashback, just flip the expectations of the audience. Very cool. So in general, I really liked watching these films, and I particularly liked watching kind of the development of Zhou Xie as an artist. I watched Night Bus first, actually, and like I said, I didn't really love it when I first saw it, but after seeing Meat Days, which I hated, and then The Present, which I loved, I really started to kind of appreciate how he came to the place that he is and developed into this like award-winning director. I think it's cool to see how your certain aesthetic can be molded if you stick with it. He kind of stuck by his vision of what he wanted, and then he kind of made something that is like, winning at Sundance. That's pretty cool. He hasn't compromised his like gory shock value thing. He didn't change it to make it like more festival friendly. He just molded it to make it more festival friendly, which I think is a good message for an artist. Is like, you don't want to compromise your vision or change your vision. You just want to mold it into the best version of itself that it can be. So follow your dreams. All right, if you have anything you want me to review, remember to like, share, subscribe, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.